Cheshbon Nefesh in the conventional vernacular means an accounting. It means sort of giving ourselves a daily or weekly or monthly report card of how we're doing, where we're okay, where we need improvement. But the Chavos HaVavos takes it a little bit further in his brief introduction that we did last time we got together. He mentioned sort of the report card of how we're doing in life vis-a-vis our responsibilities to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but he added, and we're going to expound on this point tonight, in lieu of who I am, in lieu of what I've received, in lieu of the incredible kindnesses of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he sort of opens up our mind to this concept that we're going to delve further into, that it's really subjective in terms of who you are and what your responsibilities are. And you have to give yourself a report card, not is sort of as an objective Jew, all Jews being equal, am I doing okay? Are you doing okay? Am I doing okay based on who I am and what my direct relation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is? So we're now ready for a fundamental question, which is the beginning of Perek Beis. On the question of, is Cheshbon HaNefesh equal to all people? Are we all the same? Basically, we have responsibilities. I mean, I guess, simplistically, we are all the same. We're all Jews. We have an obligation to keep all the mitzvos. And basically, are we fulfilling them or are we not fulfilling them? It should be relatively equally balanced in terms of what the expectations are of every Jew. Obviously, there could be certain mitzvahs that applies to some people. Obviously, Kohanim have their mitzvahs, Levim have their mitzvahs, men versus women, different focuses. But at the end of the day, this is your responsibility. Are you doing it or you're not doing it? And that certainly is the conventional sort of wisdom as far as what Cheshbon Nefesh means in the typical Musar sense is where am I falling short and where am I doing well and maybe I can even do it even better. But he says like this. Let me give you the following answer to that question. Are all Cheshbon Nefeshes equal or do they vary? So he says like this. Torah. The desire and the yearning of a Jew to grow in his fulfillment of the Torah, and in his or her actions in all matters of the world, it's really not the same. The desire and the yearning and the responsibility of what we have to do is really not the same. They depend on the differences that exist between people's recognition, understanding, intellect, vadinus havarasam, and the subtleties of their wisdom and their discernment. A different person who has a deeper insight has a different level of recognition, and as a result, different level of responsibility. Each one is commanded on a personal level to do for themselves a calculation of their soul, sort of a spiritual reckoning, giving them a spiritual report card, and to search out in one's looking at themselves whether or not they have fulfilled their obligations vis-a-vis HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That responsibility is directly proportionate First of all, it depends on one's understanding of all of the kindnesses that God has done for me, collectively with everybody else in the world. So, I'm a Jew. Look at what Klal Yisrael has received. We've discussed that in the past. The incredible chesed of Klal Yisrael in general, my generation, my city, my community. There are different general chasadim that a person receives amongst the group. V'shumetiv rak loy b'ofem yuchad, and in conjunction and together with the chasadim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has done for this person uniquely. Only me. I'm the only recipient of these particular chasadim, and all of us, and every member of Klal Yisrael has those particular unique chasadim. But one has to sort of calculate one's responsibility in light of these two types of benefits that one has received. Like the Torah says in the beginning of the Devarim in Parshas Eikev, Vidata Hayom, Very interesting. Literally, right from the Psukim, you see an incredible insight. The Chos HaVavos expounds on. It says Moshe Rabbeinu to the Jewish people, "V'yadatem hayom ki lo yez b'neichem asher lo yodu v'asher lo yiro es musar Hashem Elokeichem." It is not your children that are being asked to enter into this covenant with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that are being asked to commit themselves to Torah. I'm not asking your children. I'm asking you guys who know better, you guys who have seen more. Okay, they have not seen the Musa Shem Elokeichem. Your children have not. You have, as Godloi, as Yodei HaChazaka, His greatness, His powerful hand, His Ranatu, His outstretched arm, Ves Ososa, Ves Maisa, Ves She'osa B'toch Mitzrayim, L'far Melech Mitzrayim, U'chol Arzo, and incredible signs and miracles and actions that He did in Egypt to Paro and all of his land. I mean, your children didn't see that. Your children were born in the desert. You guys saw it. You guys saw it. You are the ones that I'm talking to. Obviously, he's talking to the ones who probably before 20 or after 60, who are not part of the gezerah of the death of all Jews in the desert. So this is after 40 years now. So he's talking to them, saying, "You have survived, but you remember. You know what it was like. You know what transpired back in Mitzrayim. Your kids don't know that." What he did to the armies of Mitzrayim with Kriyas Yamsuf, what he did for you in the desert, what he did to Dasan Aviram, literally, look what all of the things is going through. The ground opened up and swallowed up Korach, Vadaso, and Dasan Aviram, of course, two people who are always consistently at the side of a thorn in the side of Moshe Rabbeinu. Not your children. I'm talking to you. Because your eyes saw the great actions of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And as a result, you have to keep all the commandments I'm commanding you today. Well, the kids don't have to keep the commandments. Kids always have to keep the commandments. We all have to keep the commandments. So what's this whole Musar Shmuz that he's giving? What relevance does it have as far as obligating a Jew to fulfill the Torah? Kleimar is always an expression that you take what's written and you go a little bit deeper, as they say in Yiddish, with the grub of finger. You go a little bit, and you say, let me really delve into what really Moshe Rabbeinu is saying. Kleimar, as if to say. So Moshe Rabbeinu, in this admonition and encouragement and cajoling the Jewish people who did go through Mitzrayim, what he's saying to them is, the tfiyah, the claim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has against you, if you don't fulfill the Torah, it is a greater complaint, a greater claim against you guys. You saw more, you received more, you should feel more indebted to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that raises the stakes of what you owe HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As compared to your children who did not see the incredible wonders of Mitzrayim. Your children didn't have an opportunity. They saw, I guess, the recent end of it, but they didn't go all 40 years. They were born throughout the time in the desert. They didn't see Kriyas Yamsuf. They didn't see the Makos. They didn't see so much. They weren't there at Matan Torah, and you can't compare. You saw it with your eyes. You lived through it. Only you lived through it. They did not live through it. They did not see it. They were not the physical recipients. They know what happened. It's intellectual, but by all of you, it's visceral. You went through it. You were zocha to these incredible miracles, these incredible kindnesses. You were saved from the makos, from the plagues that Hashem brought upon the Egyptians. And you were saved from the entire miracle of the ground opening up and swallowing up to 250 members of the Adas Korach. You were spared. It just swallowed up them. You didn't. You weren't impacted. Very interesting concept. You have a greater responsibility. You have to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu more than they do. What do you mean? I mean, what's more? They have to, we have to. What do you mean more? How could you, once you're obligated to do something, how could you be more obligated? It is what it is. Because what he's saying to us is the more you feel and the more you owe, the more you have to do. And the more you fail to do, it's an incredible thought, because we sometimes think, okay, I'm doing what I need to do. But if we stop and say, but wait a minute, I mean, what have I received in my lifetime? Look at the chasadim that I have. Look at the family that I have. Look at things that sometimes, we all say we shouldn't chas v'shalom be jealous of anybody. We shouldn't look at anybody else's, lot and say, I would want to be there. But, a little bit you can say, Baruch Hashem, I see other people that are struggling. I see different sorrows. I don't have those, Baruch Hashem, Chaz Hashem. I don't have those challenges. How indebted must I feel to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all of the kindnesses that He's given me? And this is unique to each person. You have therefore an obligation to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu to a greater degree, as a direct result of the kindnesses that you have benefited from. So the greater the chesed, the greater the obligation, and the greater the tefillah. You don't feel indebted. You're not really pushing yourself to the limit. You have received so much. I did so much for you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in a sense, is saying to us, and you sort of don't feel motivated. You don't feel responsibility. How could you not? V'keinu gam l'gabi shar b'nei adam. And so too it's by other people as well. Shatafkidim hamutalem aleim b'avodas haborei edam shavim. That which is their goals and their responsibilities and their aspirations that are placed upon each person when it comes to serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu are not the same. It's the same, just like there's a distinction between the sons of the children of the Yotzei Mitzrayim versus the Yotzei Mitzrayim, those who went out versus the children of those who went out. There are differences between people in today's world as well. It has to do with your intellect. You can perceive more. If you're deeper, if you're wiser, if you studied more, you can appreciate more. You have a deeper insight. That deeper insight should compel you to come to a more clear conclusion of the responsibilities that you have. I mean, that raises the stakes for any person who has a greater intellect. You're not going to expect the Avodas Hashem of a 13-year-old to match Avodas Hashem of a 20-year-old. You expect more out of a 20-year-old because you're more mature, you've grown more, you know more, and actually you've also received more at this point. And they also differ in the different kindnesses and the goodness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given them. So again, would you say somebody who, Rahman al-Tzan, has been given a great challenge, whatever it might be, in a limitation physically, a handicap, anything along those lines, certainly doesn't exempt them from doing the mitzvos and from serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Obviously, they still have to, but it's not the same. Somebody else who Baruch Hashem has been blessed with none of those challenges. I mean, everyone has some challenge, but there are different challenges. And a lot of times we say, Baruch Hashem, look at the fact that I could walk. Look at the fact that I can see. I have I have my faculties. That's something that really raises the bar for those who have been blessed that way. Therefore, he continues. Based on this, and it's therefore somebody who believes in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it is upon that individual to make a calculation for themselves. Okay, this is it's. I mean, we all have to do this, and it's all. It makes a lot of sense, but the more we stop, and the more we make a list of all of the different things that we have that we can feel HaKadosh Tov for, that just adds to the responsibility. Okay, therefore we need to make that list. We have to calculate what we owe HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tamura in exchange for all of the kindnesses. B'daikunis hachi efshoris, to the most exacting possible way that we can, to really get to as analytical and as specific as possible. Ad kitzei gvul yecholto. To the extent of one's physical ability to do, I want to go as far as I can. You can't do more than you can do. And to the best of one's understanding. So it takes contemplation. And this is a different type of Cheshbon Nefesh. It's not just Cheshbon Nefesh internally, what have I done today? It's what should I have done today? what should I be doing? How am I doing the mitzvos? Am I doing them with the level of recognition, with the level of joy, the simcha? We just read the pasuk how important simcha is, and if you don't do it with the right kavanah, you haven't fulfilled the ultimate, a specific dimension of each and every mitzvah is the way we do that mitzvah. Simcha and joy is a critical component. Okay, any of these abilities to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu one's appreciation, if they can be done physically, Yasek v'yamol b'hem b'poel. One has to physically do them. So if I can do this in actuality and do this mitzvah and go to help this person, whatever, all the different opportunities that I have, if I can do them physically, then perfect. Then I need to do them. And if those which I can't do, I'm not in a physical position yet. Maybe I don't have enough money. I'm not strong enough. I don't have the resources. I don't, I'm not in the place. So I'm not able to do certain things that I'd love to do based on my feelings of gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'd love to do so much more, but right now I can't. So what do I do then? I can't physically do this. You can fulfill them to the extent that you can know what they are. And you articulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I would love to do this. I would love to be able to do this chesed for you. I would love to be able to build Torah for you. I would love to be able to, whatever it might be, to allow my children to learn as long as they possibly want to learn. Sometimes we're limited. I'd love to support them. I can't do it. I don't have the means. Whatever the situation might be, even if we can't actually do it, at least we can yearn for it. And we can express that yearning to HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually. It's so important to actually articulate.
Put it in prayer, please Hashem, help me try to do this, or
correct.
Show me how to do it.
That's correct. So he says, you articulate verbally that you are yearning to fulfill them. When you have these pangs of desire in your heart to want to do them. Like David HaMelech said, I almost, all of my yearning, it's almost I get sick in my desire for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to ease my path in a way where I can observe your statute. Sometimes it's hard. Right? Think of the Jews, you think of the Jews during the Holocaust. Okay, how much they wanted to do the mitzvos, and when they were able to grab and find a sitter or shake a little of an esrog, if miraculously they found one, or all the other, you have all these incredible stories about Jews who, if they can get a piece of matzah during Pesach, whatever it might have been, the yearning to do those mitzvahs. So obviously they were not able to do many mitzvos, but they yearned, they wanted to. Those special Jews, even living through that Gehenna, did not stop from looking for every opportunity. And I won't go through the whole story, but the famous story about the capo, Erev Yom Kippur, was approached by the Bluzhev Rebbe, and so the part that you don't think about so much is that this capo actually gave in and he listened to the Rebbe, even though originally he dismissed him. And the Rebbe came and said, maybe you can adjust the workload that tomorrow Yom Kippur you won't have to break the laws of Yom Kippur. Could you give us only work to do that would involve rabbinic prohibitions and not Torah prohibitions? And as the story is written, when when the next morning when they came and he gave them work that he actually adjusted. This capo he knew the Torah. He knew what the laws were. He knew how they could avoid a Torah law. They were singing with joy at the fact they didn't have to break the laws of Yom Kippur. So this is what you call a special level, but this is really what every Jew. And that was in the most horrific of situations. Imagine if Baruch Hashem we're comfortable and we have all that we need in that regard. The idea of how much that should create a sense of gratitude to literally, if I can't physically do it, I should want to do it because of the incredible kindness that I've received. So, so my innards yearn for that ability and for that situation where you'll be able to make it easier for me to observe your statutes. And furthermore, he said in Tillim, we know these words. we say them fairly often, that they're more desirable than the fanciest gold. Okay, musukim midvash v'noifesuvim, they're sweeter than the honey and the drips of the combs, of the honeycombs. That's how I look at your mitzvah. So who wouldn't want to do whatever they can? If that's how you view a mitzvah, you're going to be yearning to be able to fulfill them. The kashu yasazos, and when a person does do this, habor yodno solakavschus al shalom milasam. Okay, HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges this person favorably, that even though you couldn't do it, it's almost like you did it. Okay, it's like you did it, practically speaking, because I look at you and I say, I see your yearning, I see your desire. Okay, you're not in a position that you can do it. Okay, so even though you can't, HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at you favorably, but the point is, from the individual's point of view, one has to be mitzapah, one has to be yearning for those times when when I will have the opportunity, when I will be able to, write that big check out and make that difference in a person's life, or buy the aniyim what they need. You're yearning for that amazing opportunity, and he'll have the yicholos to fill all of his obligations vis-a-vis HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything that a person could do. Okay, so this is a critical component. It's the focusing on the chesed and recognizing that even if you can't actually do the mitzvah, to articulate your desire to do the mitzvah. And don't look for answers. He says to us, don't start making excuses. Well, I would have, I should have, I could have. And this is unfortunately what we do very often to ourselves, as far as trying to sort of get around our responsibilities. All types of rationalizations. That would get me out of it. Whatever. I don't have the energy. I don't have this or whatever. Different excuses. I'll do it later. I'm not in the mood right now. Don't be cheap with them. Don't sort of diminish them. Don't reject them and scorn them. And don't hide your eyes from them. Sometimes we sort of look the other way, make believe that we didn't see the responsibility, and we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking. Who do we think we're fooling? So we make believe we didn't see the ani, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows we saw the ani. So we're out the door before they can knock on the door. We sneak out the side doors so that there's nobody home. Who are you fooling? Who are you trying to outsmart? Penya avud biyom adin v'cheshbon agadol. Lest that person, God forbid, okay, because the day of judgment comes. Now, there's obviously Rosh Hashanah coming up very soon, but he's referring here to the big day of judgment. He says, and you don't want to be, you don't want to be sort of lost in that situation. You don't want to be on the negative end of that judgment. Person sort of cheapens a mitzvah, doesn't respect a mitzvah, it'll come back to haunt that person. It'll be damage. It'll be a wound to that individual. So you might say, "Oh, I got out of it right now," and the whole idea that we'll, kids, a lot of times with the cheating and people think they get ahead, and the adults also have the temptations with the taxes and all these other things that go on, and we look at the short term of getting ahead for the brief moment without recognizing that there's an ultimate reckoning, that everything gets evened up. So who are you trying to fool to think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to know what happened and we're going to have to answer for that? So this becomes sort of a paradigm shift in our approach, that it becomes now incumbent upon a person, and he's going to actually go through. It's going to take some time. We're not going to even going to scratch the surface tonight, but to go through 30 different things that we have to focus in on that will enhance our hakaras hatov, and not just to feel good about it and to feel gratitude, but in a way it raises the bar. It raises the level of responsibility that we have in being the recipient of these chasadim, of what we have to give back. And again, it'll be timing is everything. It's really, I think, very fortunate that we're focusing on this right before Rosh Hashanah. This is a tremendous tool that we can use, B'ez Hashem, to inspire ourselves to try to make that small step, to make that small difference. Because again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not looking for leaps and bounds. Baruch Hashem, we're talking to Chashav people, and the smallest step that we can make, the smallest advancement in any slight area is unbelievably significant. So let's at least make a dent in Paragimel. How many different ways are there to calculate this calculation of the soul in order for one to really know their obligations vis-a-vis God? What do I really owe HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How much do I have to push myself to do these mitzvahs? He knows it as a tshuva haba. Let me give you the following answer. If you want to know how many different ways must I look at the world to gain this appreciation. So he says like this. There are many angles. There are many ways. There are many subtleties of what we have received in this world that will heighten my responsibility in paying back Hashem. And one cannot, it is impossible to count all the ways. Because everybody has literally every single day we can sit and make a list and we'll never get done. But I'm just going to do 30. I'm going to keep it short. I'm just going to give you 30. That's all. From these 30, okay, I don't know why there's no chart, somewhere that we can buy the 30 ways to come to love Hashem. Okay, sounds good. Okay. He says, from these 30 different aspects, one can understand one's obligation towards Hashem. When one places their heart onto them, because again, a lot of these things we know. There's knowing them, and then there's really internalizing them on a level which really demands a response from us. The Kabbalah Atzmo Amek Bem Liskar Sam Tamid, and one should accept upon themselves. And the truth of the matter is, even this would be incredible. If a person could just make a Kabbalah, make an acceptance, I'm going to focus on these chasadim, that itself would be a tremendous thing, because very, very often we're just too busy. We got no time to reflect, no time to analyze, and so we use simchas. Simchas Baruch Hashem are times that parents reflect, grandparents reflect. But the truth of the matter is, again, we have to do it in a way where it's meaningful. But a person should be overwhelmed with the Chazei Hashem every single day, and that should sort of motivate every davening and every mitzvah to be of a special level. So if a person should take upon themselves to analyze it, to go delve into it, to remember it constantly, the Elohim. And these are the 30 different things. And again, he's going to analyze one at a time. Let's do the first one. The first aspect of one has to think about in terms of appreciating the Chazei Hashem, she's bonei na adam bishtal shaluso. One needs to focus on how the person got here. How did I sort of evolve? Even though it's maybe not the right word, but how did I get to this point? How did I get from the very beginning of my existence? And how did even my existence even come to being in the first place? Person should focus on the very inception of how they got to the world. How one came from nothing, and I'm here. And where was I before? I wasn't in the world. The world was a functioning world without me, and all of a sudden, my birthday happens, and I'm in this world, and I'm crying, and I have my mommy's taking care of me. I'm how did that happen? Okay, and literally turned from nothing to something. The world was around. I wasn't here. Now all of a sudden, I'm part of the world. There was nothing really prior that sort of obligated this. It isn't like somebody planned, somebody put in a bunch of effort to get me here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu just put me here. Okay, obviously there's a physical dimension to how I got here in terms of a conception and a pregnancy and a birth. But at the end of the day,
it's a miracle.
It's a miracle, no question. It's purely the kindness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, tuva yuredivuso, his goodness and his generosity. and one should understand in their intellect, Kibatzava Yosenala, and that not only did I just get here out of nowhere, I wasn't here and then I am here, but my position right now as a Jew in this world, a human being in this world, Kibatzava Yosenela, my matzav, my position, my place is more exalted, and my level much higher, and my essence of what I am and how Kosh Baruch Hu sort of formed me and made me is much more loftier, much more advantageous, on a much higher level than a domain, inanimate object, something that grows from the ground, that has a higher level of quality, but certainly not. It's higher than a domain. It's obviously a tree is more significant than a rock. It's just sitting there. Okay, a flower is something very beautiful, but a chai, a living creature, is even higher than that. And I am an Adam. I am higher than a chai. And right, that was HaKadosh Baruch Hu's special gift to us. He blew into us Nishmas Elokim. The kashu yizbonei b'chol zeh v'yavano. So when a person looks into this and understands it and internalizes it, hu yichayvis atzmo lahodos laboris baruch hakach. One has to give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I just mentioned it on Shabbos. I don't think I mentioned it here, that we say every day now, L'davar Hashem Or V'yishi. How incredible it is that, so in that Tehillim, L'davar Hashem Or V'yishi, there's a pasuk that says, Avivimi azavuni, v'Hashem yasfeni. My father and my mother have forsaken me, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gathered me in, so to speak. So what does that mean exactly? So Rashi says, Ramesh Rashi on Tehillim, in the Navi, says incredibly this idea that a David HaMelech is giving praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that when my parents conceived me, when they had their relations that particular night, when I was conceived, what happened after that point of conception? They rolled over, they went to sleep, and they went on with their lives, or the last thing on their minds at that point was to think of, is that little embryonic group of chromosomes and seed and sperm, whatever you want to call it, is going to nurture and flourish into a little boy, to become David HaMelech, to become the father of Mashiach. Who made that happen? Who sat there and babied, so to speak, that seed? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he wasn't really belittling his parents or criticizing them per se, but it was his way of sort of visualizing this incredible chesed that they went to sleep, they rolled over, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was watching that zera and made sure that zera became David HaMelech. What an incredible Chaz Hashem. I have nobody else I can really rely on. You made this happen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's incredible visualization. That's really what he's saying here too. One has to really think about these things and not take them for granted. The karv l'sichloi es havanas chavos zaydei mashal doimit. Let me bring it into more of a tangible, visceral sense of one's obligation based on this mashal, based on this parable. So envision for yourself as follows. Baby's born, you were born, you're a week old, whatever the circumstances are, your mother says, you know what, I don't want this kid. So you throw the kid in a basket on the street, and the mother goes into her Chevrolet and drives away, leaving this kid on the street. Okay? And a person drives by and sees this baby sitting there in a little basket, or maybe, I don't know, in a dumpster, chas v'shalom. Okay, just sitting there, or lying there crying. And the person has compassion, and the person brings a little baby into their house, and is involved in their upbringing, until this little baby gets bigger and becomes strong. When this person gets older and recognizes from the day that I was born, practically, you took care of me. My mother literally forsake me, and you came and saved the day. But where would I be? I wouldn't be alive if not for you. Isn't there an overwhelming sense of gratitude that whatever you want is what I'm willing to do? Philosophy says, "Kol mashu mitzavoloi," and to do whatever you command me to do. Lizar mi kol mashu aisoloi, and to be careful and to not do anything that you forbid me to do. mean, after all, you're the reason why I'm here. Now, this should work with parents too. The truth of the matter is, and I'm not sure how much the teenagers get this, but we got to work on that. And how many obligations would be created by one's recognition of this incredible kindness? And then think, well, if that's what you would owe a physical flesh and blood individual, how much more so do you owe HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Okay, who did that much more? And gave a child everything they need from its inception. In commensurate to that, so one should therefore, it should be incumbent upon a person, and one should sort of demand of oneself to be drawn after that desire to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to accept upon oneself HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mitzvos. Moshe Rabbeinu already rebuked the Jewish people about this particular point and gave them that encouragement. B'yomro, when he said in Devarim, Hal Hashem, we're going to read it in a couple of weeks, Hal Hashem tigmul zos, am navov lo chacham. Is this how you pay back HaKadosh Baruch Hu? A nation that's done despicable things and has no wisdom. Hello, avicha kanecha. He's your father. He made you. He established you and he formed you and he gave you everything. This is how you pay him back. This is a prediction of the time when the Jews are not going to do the mitzvos. So to Yecheskel, this beautiful parak in Yecheskel where HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he talks about HaKadosh Baruch Hu seeing the Jewish people forlorn. They were Mitzrayim. They were nothing. They were left basically in a horrible state. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and he took them and he brought them to an incredible place, to an incredible lofty level. Okay, and sort of protected them and cleaned up their blood and cleaned up all their wounds, and he gave them an incredible level of chesed. This is what we say by a bris, and this is what we refer to and what we recall in terms of the Chazi Hashem. And Yecheskel's point is, this kind of kindness you can ignore. This is a kindness that you can now and rebel against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How does this not demand from you, says Yecheskel to us, that you should have incredible loyalty and commitment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to do the mitzvos? So this is just the first one. We've got 29 to go. So we have a lot to look forward to. But when just even this alone, if we can visualize this, and certainly when we say David Hashem Orv Yishu, we have this in mind that this is who we are. We are such incredible recipients of Chazdei Hashem. Hopefully it'll be a great motivator, and Bez Hashem will take this with us to the Yom Adin. Bez Hashem will be Zoichet together with God's Klai Yisrael for Ksivach Simitov, good Ben Shur, and the Shnaz Gula of Yeshua.
Amen.